In the last section, we spoke about the app that we're going to build and generated our new project called Weather. Now that all of our dependencies are installed, I'm going to go ahead and open Finder, find my iOS directory, and open the Xcode project file. Next, I'm going to go back over to my terminal, open my code editor, and while that's going, I'm also going to run npm start to kick off the build process as well. And looks like npm start is running successfully. Cool. So going back over to the code editor, I'm going to open up index.ios.js. Looks like we've already got it up here on the page. And as you know, I don't really like working with a pre-generated code. The code that we're going to write initially here is going to look very similar to this, but nonetheless, I really like starting from scratch. So we're just going to take everything out and start from scratch here. So the first component that we're going to focus on is the map widget itself. The map that we're going to use is a component that's provided to us by the React Native framework. So we're not going to be building a map from scratch here. This is a tool that we get available to us. React Native provides a light wrapper around the native implementation of a map view. So when we tell React Native to make a map view, React Native in turn is really telling the phone's operating system to make a map for us. So React Native itself is not actually, it's not generating a map. It's not really doing any of that. It's just telling the operating system, hey, please create a map, and we want to work with it in some fashion. So let's get started by defining our root component. Let's say var weather react.create class. We'll stub out our render function. Cool, looks good. Next, we'll import the base React object and pull a couple of properties off of it. So we'll say var react is require react-native. Then var, we'll do our destructured assignment here again. And we're going to grab app, registry, map view, view, and style sheet. Next, at the bottom, we'll declare our styles. So we'll do var styles is style sheet.create. And this is going to be a pretty straightforward little style sheet that we got here for right now. It's going to expand in the coming sections. But for right now, we're just going to have the single style of map. And that will have a property of flex1. Let's go back into our render function, and we're going to return a map view with a style of styles.map. And we'll close that tag, like so. Okay, one last step. Don't forget, we always need to register our base component. So we'll say app, registry, register, component, and this is going to be just weather, and we'll return our weather component. Cool. So I know that the code that we just deleted, the automatically generated code that we got from when we created our project, it really looks very similar to this. Nonetheless, I do feel it's really important to start from scratch every time. The reason for that is that I really want you to get this process here, this boilerplate, really committed to memory. And I want you to just kind of spit it out without having to reference any materials. Almost every component that we create is always going to have the same 3 or 4 sections to it, as we previously described. At the top, we import some code. Second, we create our component. Third, we do some styling. And lastly, if we're inside of our root component, we'll set up the app registry and register the component. Pretty straightforward. Cool. So this looks good. I'm going to flip over to Xcode and hit our play. I've already got a instance of the simulator running. So make sure you go ahead and hit play, but I'm just going to use the instance I've already got here. If I can open it, I'm going to just start it over. There we go. There it is. So while that's running, take note that the style that we passed to the map view right here has a property of flex1, which means the map view itself is going to try to fill the entire space of the page, or the entire screen here. And sure enough, that's exactly what it does. So our iPhone simulator currently has a full screen map available inside of it. So if I'm using a MacBook, and if I do 3-finger scroll, or you can do like a click and drag to scroll around on the page, to zoom in, you can just double click on the screen. And obviously, if a user was, if this was on an actual iPhone device, we could use the usual controls like pinch to zoom, or just a finger drag, and that would manipulate the map in the way that you would expect. On the simulator, the map might be just a little bit laggy as you're scrolling around. It's just because we're running the simulator. Once you put this on the phone, everything would be nice and smooth. Okay, so we got our map on the screen here, and it really was not that challenging. All we had to do was return a single map view component. As a reminder, this map view is delegating to the operating system to generate the map. This is not a map that's being created with all of its different streets and roads and all the whatnot on here by React Native. React Native is just telling the operating system, hey, please show a map. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue inside the next section.